Okay, the day is beginning. December 17th, Tuesday. And we're back on the road with our trusty tuk-tuk driver, Mr. Din. We are heading east today, an area we haven't been in at all during our time here in Siem Reap. Heading east to go to what's called the Rolous group. It's a group of temples earlier in the Khmer regime. It's about 950 AD. So we're going to check out those three temples today, and it's our short temple to finish up the temples here in Siem Reap. We are now on our way to Preah Ko, first site on the Rolous trip. Okay, here we are, Preah Ko. Looks like part of Preah Ko is under wraps, but we'll take it in. This is the group we're seeing today. The Rolous group is built in the 9th century. They were the earlier Khmer civilizations here. It was the capital at the time, Laya, which was the main religious sect here that worshipped Hindu gods. This was a very important spot at one point. Everything's moved around quite a bit by then, out to Angkor Wat, and then now all the way. The capital is, of course, now at Phnom Penh. An interesting thing we saw in Thailand was that they are up every morning sweeping the sidewalks, the lawns, everything with these kind of naturally made brooms that kind of look like rakes and brooms together. And we get here to Cambodia, it's the same thing. Everybody has these brooms and they're up cleaning the sidewalks, cleaning the floors of the hotels, cleaning the lawns, brushing the dirt, constantly cleaning. And it shows that the places are really kept up nicely. So something I'm finally learning about how they built these temples at different time points is the different types of stone used and materials used. So one of the things you see with the carvings a lot is sandstone. So a smoother stone that's easier to carve. But if you notice, as we get up to the actual temple towers, they're very thin bricks that are used to construct these temples. The third type of material used in the building of these temples is what's called laterite, which is kind of a clay-like rock material with it is very mineral rich. So you see this often as the foundations or walls, but not so much with a fine carving that goes on. So Preah Ko is often called the cow temple because it has these three cow statues here right out in front of the temple, facing the temple. It's still somewhat just mind-boggling to think this was about 900 AD when this was built. Still standing and in surprisingly good shape. So inside one of these towers, it hasn't been restored yet. You can see the broken statues laying on the floor, and the place where the lingua would be is broken. It's really interesting. These are one of the smaller towers. If I take you up the inner wall of this brick, you get a sense for the scale of these things. And of course, here's one of the towers that's under restoration. Bamboo matting around it to keep the rain out and wind out, and scaffolding on the inside, and many workers inside, all varieties of manual and electric tools, getting this thing back in shape. Looking out over the front area, the ante area for Preah Ko. Come around to main towers here. This is yet to be restored, but it's in remarkable shape. In fact, going up to the main entrance, the doorway is well lit right now with the sun, and you can see that the Sanskrit inscriptions are still here on this door. Disappearing, but still present. So we say goodbye to Preah Ko, dedicated to King Jayavarman II and to the god Shiva. Okay, so we are now at Bakong Temple. This is the largest of the Rolous Temples. It's a 5-tiered temple, often called a temple mountain in the early Khmer architecture and design. This was another temple done by King Indravarman II, who also did Preah Ko. This one came 2 years later in 881. So we're a much larger temple. We're walking across the causeway that goes across the moat. And you can see ahead of us this large structure. Okay, we're getting close to Bakong's main temple. It's interesting because it's the 5-tiered temple with only one major core tower, so it really has a nice symmetry and a little bit less busy than some of the other temples, so you can really appreciate the outline, especially on this glorious, beautiful blue sky morning here outside Siem Reap. All right, here we go. Main entrance to Bakong Temple. You come in the front gate and immediately upstairs you go. It's kind of like a split level, right? My travel partner is right behind me. We've got stereo video recording going on here for your pleasure. I gotta think that these are not very tall people right now in Cambodia. And you know, 1600 years ago they were probably considerably shorter, and these steps are a reach for me. I mean, they are high, so this took some work to get up 5 levels of this temple. All right, crossing over from that 4th to the final 5th level, the top tower right in front of me. Let's see what this view looks like over Bakong's temple grounds. Oh yeah. I'd say that was definitely worth the effort. And the temple, of course, has a number of smaller surrounding temples, towers on the periphery. And of course, no surprise, but the top temple has a relatively humble, small Buddha statue here, but place to deliver your prayers. And here's a view out over the entire grounds from the very top level. So some major renovation going on in one of the outer towers here in Bakong. Guys are up on scaffolding, and you know, heavy materials are being moved by a bucket on a rope up 50 feet, so a lot of manual labor. Okay, we're hitting a little bit of a country road here on our way. Hey, we're gonna make a kind of an unexpected stop at this place called Prei Monti, which is a small temple out here on the Rolous area, one of the 4. So we are touring the countryside. Okay, I'd say we're going 4-wheeling off-road, but we were 3-wheeling off-road.
It's gotten narrower.
Well, our driver, Mr. Nin, wanted to see Prei Monti, so we rambled through the jungle to this site of this very ruined, definitely unrestored temple ground. very fun just that we're the only people here. Maybe we're the only people here for some time. We're leaving Prei Monti. All right, we have made it through 3 temples in the Rolous area, and we are now on to the final temple, Temple 4, Lolei. Out here across the highway into this more kind of grassy, marshy area. And we have made our way into the sleepy little temple village of Lolei. And the temple's kept here. Okay, up to Lolei. Climbing our way up into Lolei. This will be probably the last temple we see in the Siem Reap area. We've seen quite a few. Smaller temple here, but still very interesting. And it looks like there's been some development of a newer modern temple on the site. This used to look old. Now it looks new in comparison. So Lolei looks to be a 4-tower complex. This first tower here on my right is in very good shape. Its next door neighbor, not quite doing so well. You can see they saved some of the pediments and doorway decor here. These are remnants and parts of the inner temples and towers that have been saved. All of them, as you can see by the white writing, coded for where they came from and give somebody a chance to figure out what pieces fit together and how. Once again, a giant jigsaw puzzle here. You can see what they've done to stabilize these structures that have seen so much damage and decay. Remnants from Lolei Temple here out, kind of saved out here in front of the temple as I'm just getting ready to exit. Very interesting piece. Out here in these flooded fields of rice, there's a large water buffalo out there cooling down. Mr. Ned is taking us to kind of a surprise place. It's the Chau Spei Vibol Temple. We're now a ways northeast of Siem Reap. Well, we are at the Chau Spei Vibol ruined temple. And the locals have taken interest in this because there's not many people around here. In the way of tourists, I think. All right, we are here at Chau Spei Vibol, and we are making our way to the main gate. We've got a bit of a road climbing up the hill to the main temple here. Picking up some friends. We're getting near the top here of Chau Spei. There's a newer style temple here, but there's still the ruins of the old ancient temple. Well, it's safe to say that there has not been restoration at this temple. Looks like somebody lost one big game of Jenga here. There's just blocks everywhere. Only a few small pieces of the structure even remain vertical. Lovely grounds for true ruins. So our guides are taking us around the outer wall here and heading back to the main entry through the long route, which is quite scenic. Not many people have been through here, so it's untouched forest and very pristine. Okay, we are on our way out. Well, we made some good friends there. Yay, friendly people at this place. Get away from the tourist areas and everybody's a little more friendly. And boy, what a great chance to see some true ruins and meet some nice people. Hey. Mr. Nin did a good job getting us to the right place.